Iran has maintained that there's been zero impact of the strikes by America on its nuclear sites. A senior Iranian source maintains that the number of personnel even at the Fordow site, the underground site, had been reduced to a minimum, and most of the highly enriched uranium at Fordow was moved to an undisclosed location prior to America's attack. Iran essentially suggesting that they knew this was coming. They knew America was going to strike them, and so they moved all of their uranium out. Remember that at Fordow and at Natanz, the allegation against Iran, which Israel and America has been leveling, is that they've enriched uranium to 60%, which is just a shade below weapon-grade nuclear steps. So that's why you had essentially Israel and US attacking these sites. Now, if what Iran says is true, and they've actually moved out all of the uranium out of Fordow and out of Natanz, it means that the strikes that were conducted by US were essentially useless. But we'll wait for an objective assessment as to the damages that were reported, because on one hand, you've got America maintaining that these sites were utterly destroyed, that they went out to target these sites, ensure Iran is not close to developing a nuclear weapon. They claim mission accomplished. Iran says not really. We moved out all of the uranium because we knew this was coming. I want to bring in Shivani Sharma. She's joining us live from Tel Aviv in Israel, where the last many hours, Shivani, there have been non-stop sirens going off in light of what's been happening between Iran and America as well. But what really has Israel maintained as their version of the damages that Iran has incurred?
See, Israel and United States, they are together claiming that the nuclear threat, and especially the three sites where the United States has targeted with the B-2 bombers, have been completely washed out, wiped out. And these are the Natanz site and the Fordow site, as well as the other site. So all these three have been hit, they have been neutralized. But this is not only a war that is being fought on ground, Akshita. Remember, this is much more than that. It is a war of the kind of propaganda and the war of information, the war of narrative too, that is being fought with the statements, the claims and counterclaims that are coming in. So this is the claim that has now come from Iran, that says that they had already moved their uranium deposits from these sites because they were aware of the fact that they can be hit either by Israel or by United States. So they say that the strikes by US have been useless because they had already moved the enrichments from that place. But United States is quite confident, and Israel is also quite confident of the fact that they have successfully degraded the nuclear capability of Iran by hitting at these sites. So we have to wait for more assessments and more pictures from the ground in Iran, where these missiles have been hit, where these nuclear facilities have been hit by United States. But certainly this is not only a war on ground, but a war of propaganda and information and setting a narrative.
Shivani, if US and Israel are right now maintaining that, look, we hit the intended targets, we wiped out any chance of Iran possessing nuclear weapons, then on the part of Israel and America, this conflict ideally has ended, because they said that their goal was to target these nuclear sites. They claim they've done that. So essentially for Israel, for America, it's over.
You are right, but there are multiple goals with which Israel had started, and neutralizing the nuclear threat was one of those goals. The other goals were also taking away the capability of building and developing intercontinental ballistic missile to degrade these capabilities of Iran. So we have to wait and see that whether Israel keeps this operation on, as it had said that we were doing this just to neutralize the threat of nuclear power, the nuclear program by Iran, which was close to completion. And now, after the claims that have come in from United States that say that these three sites have been damaged and destructed, that means that first aim of degrading the nuclear power of Iran has been accomplished. But what about the others? The others have been to completely diminish the proxies, completely diminish the strength and capabilities of Iran of making those missiles that can be later handed over to the proxies and to be used against Israel. And also, possibility of the regime change was also on the agenda by Israel. So now this is a turning point of the whole war, the 10th day where United States has entered this whole conflict, Akshita, where the Iranians have started firing salvos of missiles on Israel very aggressively.
Yeah.
So here there are two essential things that Israel has to do now to save its people, to counterattack, take the countermeasures, and also to keep the operations on if it thinks that the goals have not yet been achieved.
Also, the reality is that since these strikes by America, Iran has been hitting back already on Israel, not really targeting US bases or any of that, but they have been continuing to fire missiles at Israel, particularly in cities like Haifa.